So let's push this discussion on the water crisis a little further. As Andrew said, I work for a nonprofit that is in this funny space between communities who we're trying to impact, and that carries enormous responsibility, and philanthropists who give their time, energy, and resources because they want to change the world. We've developed a tool, a technology, that honors the sacred space between the two in the hopes of transforming the way the world works in terms of water and sanitation and having the impact that Kevin's talking about. So I think you're getting a sense of what's happening. Oop. So this is a good example. Going on the fly. So sustainability and transparency have become development sector buzzwords that carry absolutely no water. And we know this. As Andrew said, I've been working for 25 years on water and sanitation issues around the world. I've lived for 20 of those in Africa. My daughters were raised there, and they understand water issues too, because they at times had to go fetch water. And it's a terrible job, and thank you. Ah, there we go. It's a terrible job, and it's crippling countries around the world. So here's my family. Sorry, I'm going to catch up. So the story of water and sanitation that you might have heard of is actually a very simple story, and it's simply told. There's a girl. She has dirty clothes. She's walking and walking and walking, and she's got a bucket. And she gets to a hole in the ground or a river, and she bends down. She scoops. She starts pouring this filthy water that nobody in this room would touch. She then picks it up. She puts it on her head, and she walks home. And she does this all day. She misses school because when there's a choice between school and water, school always loses. You're then bombarded with data, millions of people dying, death, lost opportunity, and it's real. People's lives are not being transformed because they're spending all day fetching water. You're then asked to give money. Give us money, put it in an envelope, $25 saves a life. Go up to Congress, get more foreign aid, because we've got to do something about it, and we do, and money matters. You turn the page, and there's a whole new reality. Kids drinking water, kids happy, they're lapping the water. It's good. The nonprofits, the NGOs, the United Nations development agencies will then tell you that everything's good. Here's a picture of a girl drinking water. Here's a report. Here are receipts showing that we spent the money well. That's transparency. Now give us more money. We need to move on. We got more things to do, more people to help. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But what happens when we leave? What happens when that system has to run for a while? Are the children still smiling? Are the girls back in school? Is water flowing? I'm driving down the road in rural Mozambique, and I'm hitting it hard. I'm in a Nissan pickup truck. It's beaten up. I can't push it much harder. I'm sweating. It's hot, holding the wheel tightly. Word has gotten to me that Maria's son, Adamu, is in trouble. Now, Adamu's one of the lucky kids. He's 3 years old. I've known him since he was born. And when he was weaned from his mother's breast, he tasted sweet water. A group had come in and put in a water project. He drank it. He grew. He thrived. It was good. But that water point broke. That donor and NGO long gone. And Adamu's family had to go back into the rivers they thought they had long since abandoned. Adamu tasted that water. His body couldn't cope. He'd never had those pathogens in his body. And his life was running away. He was in a rural clinic. He needed to get to a hospital. And I needed to get there fast. So I'm hitting it hard. I come into the village. I go whipping through. All these people jumping out of the way. That crazy Malungu. I turn the corner. I see the clinic. And I see Maria and her family sitting on the dirt. And I know I'm too late. So you can't store bodies in Africa very long. So we picked up Adamu's body. It was wrapped, put it in the back of my pickup truck. People got in. Maria sits next to me. She's whimpering. We have to help her in the car. I start to pull out, and she unloads. I don't know if you've ever heard an African woman cry. It is the deepest, most painful tears you will ever hear, and she's screaming. All the violence, all the pain, all the hardship of her life coming out through the death of her son. And it's like a siren in my ear. I am overwhelmed. I'm driving down the road. I'm driving faster because I got to get her home. People hear her screams, and they start walking towards her house. They know. They've heard that scream before. We go over the hill. I'm going faster. I turn the corner, and she stops. She's staring with a look of sheer hate at the hand pump that broke. And it's a look I will never forget. Sustainability at our organization is not how many hand pumps you put in, not how many beneficiaries, the worst word on the planet, how many beneficiaries we helped last year. It's not how many microfinance loans we made. It's is water running? Because the reality is Africa, Asia, and Latin America are littered with broken technology, broken dreams, broken promises. We got to turn this around. We've got to move to different outcomes. Now, the truth is we know what's wrong with it. We've known why water points break all over the world for 30 years. But there's no change. There's no innovation. This session is about how not to change the world. You don't change the world by falling for that simple story. You change the world by saying, is the water that you put in 10 years ago still running? And if you don't know, you're not a serious organization. Because it means what you're possibly doing is replicating failure. You're scaling failure. Is water running? Is it flowing? Have people forgotten about you? Have they gotten to the point where they turn on a tap or pump a hand pump, just like us in the United States, and they just expect it to come out? That's good work. So we have people every day throughout Africa walking past broken infrastructure. The next time someone tells you that 4,000 children have died from diarrhea, ask, how many of them walk past a broken water point? How many people, like these guys in Rwanda, we'll get it going, have taken a hand pump apart to get to the water underneath because it doesn't work? Because that's the reality in the world. The reality is that none of you know this. You're bombarded with all this information. You're hammered with ideas and bad stories. But the information on sustainability, is water flowing? Transparency, are people following the water as it goes? The intervention happened. Do you see what happens over time? Is that happening? Well, we decided at our organization that we were going to change this. And we're going to build on the great history of mapping that has evolved over the last 150, 160 years. So this, many of you might know, this is the famous ghost map from central London in the 1850s. This is the first effort to visualize a problem. Reverend Whitehead and Dr. Snow had this massive cholera outbreak. Everyone thought it was miasmic. It was through the air. And they showed, by going house to house saying who had cholera, they were able to show that it wasn't miasmic at all. They all got water from the same point. Revolutionized the world. There's been this explosion of mapping going on in the water sector. It's all quite stagnant, but it's powerful. It shows functionality of water points, what's working, what's not working. It shows who has access and who doesn't have access. You go onto web pages all over the world, and people will show you where they're working. But it's stagnant. It's powerful, but it's stagnant. If you want to monitor, if you want to go back, you have to walk around with a clipboard. You have to take all these questions and check them off. You have volumes of information. You got to have some techie who can come and put it into Excel, stick it through SPSS or EpiInfo, put it onto ArcView, stick it on a map. 6, 8, 10 months have passed. The data's dead. We've moved on. So I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine. His name's Flo, Field Level Operations Watch. What we did is a very simple thing. We turned cell phones into paper, or replaced paper checklists with cell phones. It's basically an app. It's called Field Survey. It's done on Android phones. It uses all the power of Google. It's open source, so anyone can have it. And we're beta testing it. We need improvement. This is where you can help. Jump in, help it grow. This is how it works. You basically have a series of questionnaires. If you like our questionnaire, great. Use our questionnaire. If you don't like our questionnaire, well, there's a function to put in your own questionnaire. It doesn't even have to be in the water sector. It can, in fact, be in a totally different sector. Why not health? Why not agriculture? You take a GPS coordinate. You answer a series of questions. You take a picture. You can take video. Oh, wait a minute. I don't speak English. So let's put it in a different language. Let's put it in Kenya-Rwandan. Let's put it in dialects of Spanish. Let's put it in Hindi. Let's put it in Bengali. Great. Comes back, and all the red is in that text. If you don't know what a technology is, you can hit a help screen, and you can see different kinds of technologies. I'm looking at this pump. I don't know what this pump is. Ah, it's that pump. Great. You submit, and it all zooms through to Google Earth or Google Maps. So come with me on a journey. Let's go to Chinda in Honduras. This is a pretty cool place. You've seen these kind of maps, right? What you can do is it takes all the results and it makes it simple to analyze. You don't have to be a techie anymore. So you take all the greens, all the yellows, all the reds, and Andrew, thank you very much. Got to think of that color now. It's good. Green means it's working to government standards. Yellow means something's a little off. Red means system's down. Black means they have nothing. Very simple, intuitive. What you have is, here's a snapshot of Chinda. When we started in this area, there was one working water point. Wow, this is good. We're moving in the right direction. You can go to an individual project. You can see the results. And what's really important is you can track the results over time. You can see whether community water supplies last. You don't have to rebuild maps. You don't have to do anything. It creates histories. So you can track progress over time. But we have a problem in Chinda because if our goal is water is flowing and they never need another NGO like Water for People, wow. We got to make sure it's functioning. We got to make sure people have access to it. We have to make sure that downtime is limited to 1 day, quantity is good, and that people are paying for it. What's happening here? People aren't paying for it. We're not solving the problem yet. So what are we going to do? We actually added some questions to the questionnaire. It was great. And what ended up happening is we found out, basically downloaded right into the cell phones, we found out that 2 reasons why tariffs had stopped. One, that there was a coup in Honduras, so people are holding their money. 2 is people from the US who are working as undocumented workers were coming home. No money's coming back. So we have to rethink our financing on this project. Come with me to Blantyre in Malawi. Blantyre is a city of between 750 and 1.2 million. Nobody really knows. Everyone thinks, in terms of joint monitoring program and data, 95% of Blantyre is covered. Nope. 35%. All these other systems are in trouble. You've got broken water points, broken promises, broken dreams. But wait a minute. There's a success story in Blantyre. This is one area called Nkolokoti, excuse me. And what's happened there is we decided that there was a long history in this area of broken water points. So we have got to change the discussion here. We said to our staff, you can't NGO it. It's a verb, negative. You can't NGO it. We know that if you just rebuild the systems, if you just get water flowing again, if you don't sort out what happened in the past, 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to be right back to failed water projects. So what we did is we developed a whole different tariff system. We developed a private operator model, very controversial. We got a local group to start. We started with one water point. We got water flowing to that. What they've done over time, over 3 years, they've reinvested the profits they made from that one kiosk into 37 other water points, all run by women, creating jobs, water's flowing, we can test it. Now everyone's looking at this map, everybody's starting to come and see, oh my gosh, what can I learn from Nkolokoti? And it's starting to spread in Blantyre. The heroes are these people. So let's imagine a few things. Let's imagine that NGOs can no longer say, we can't monitor. The world will be a better place because we'll be able to test and see change over time. And here's the good news. A lot of NGOs, UNICEF, Water and Sanitation Program, these guys want to try out flow because they're committed to transforming from happy stories from day one when the water's flowing to transformative change and to build on strengths and address and identify weaknesses and change the game. We can learn from each other now. All the development PR is going to fall away. Imagine USAID. Every year someone's coming from USAID to say, give us more money, give us more money. USAID can say, hey, wait a minute. We gave you a contract 10 years ago to put in 1,000 water points. What percentage of those projects are still running today? If they can't tell you, they can't take any more of your money. That's a good thing. But let's push it a little farther. What if we gave it to mobile mechanics who went around and were able to plot every water point that they're working on and to be able to say what's working and what's not working? We could learn about supply chains. We could start to tackle some of these problems because information is starting to flow faster. It's a good thing. What if somebody, maybe it's in this room, developed a sensor that you could put into a hand pump linked to flow so that every time water's going through, it's fine. But the minute no water passes, bang, we can find out, hey, water point's down. Maybe an Adamu lives there. Who's going to respond? Got to light a little fire under us. Take it out of the NGO's hands. Get it into other people's hands. Get it into the field. What if we could start to hear the voices of the voiceless? What would have happened if Maria had this capacity? We can't accept broken water points anymore. We can no longer listen just to happy stories. You guys want to change the world? Push us. We've put this out. Any organization who wants it can have it. We need people to play with it and break it and make it work because we need to get information on whether the investments that people make truly transform lives. Thank you very much. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you.